if you were starting out in a role and you only had $10,000 a month to be deployed towards your influencer strategy, what would your influencer strategy look like with that 10K?
Like a 1x ROAS or a 2x ROAS, then I'm going to try to book smaller creators, like try to get as much bang for my buck on that $10,000 amount.
This is something that's been eating at me. I wanted to try it and I got the opportunity to.
Either you're an influencer program that focuses on awareness, or you're an influencer program that focuses on like revenue performance. What's the hesitation? Get deep within yourself. Like, what is the hesitation with collaborating?
Welcome back to the ZeroTo1 podcast. You are about to hear an insightful conversation with Lily Comba, who has really redefined what it means to be successful with influencer today. She has nearly a decade of experience across influencer and affiliate marketing and has pioneered some of the industry's best programs at brands like Thrive Market and most recently Seed, where her team's program generated hundreds of millions in attributable revenue and posted a 5x ROI. This episode is brought to you by ZeroTo1, the performance marketing agency behind some of the world's most disruptive brands today.
All right. Hey here. Welcome, Lily. I'm excited to have this conversation. I've been looking forward to this for a few weeks. We've been trying to...
I know. Third time's the charm.
But Riley and I, we've been nerding out, watching podcasts with you on there in the past. And obviously we know you from Super Affiliate. Super Affiliate is one of our favorite tech partners to ever have been. When we came across Super Affiliate, it was like, oh my God, there's a platform that is exactly what we wanted a platform to do for the longest time. So we kind of learned about Super Affiliate, not knowing about you, and then learned about you from your work, in work with Seed, kind of in parallel. And when we learned that there was some synergy there and it just, the stars aligned, and we've been excited to have this conversation ever since. So excited to get to know you and about Super Affiliate. So we'll get to that. But would be helpful for us in the audience. You have an incredibly strong background. I think 5x ROI is the number with over 100 million in attributable revenue. Is that did I get
something like that? Significant return, an incredibly successful program, incredibly rewarding team to do it with. That about sums it up. Yeah.
Well, let's start there. Would love for you to just unpack how you got to where you are today, the quick version, and then I'm sure there's some specific things that we'll dig into, but give us your background and how you got started and where you got to.
Yeah, it's so funny because right before we started recording, we were talking about we've been doing this for a decade. And I'm like, well, influencer marketing kind of got started a decade ago. And that's when I got my start. I've been doing influencer marketing for about 8 years. And I started at Thrive Market. My first job out of college was at a traditional ad agency and out-of-home advertising, which is oddly enough becoming relevant, more and more relevant as I work with influencers. And I did that for about a year, and then I jumped right into Thrive Market's influencer program. And so I started as a coordinator there and made my way up to manager. And how the team was organized at Thrive at the time was like there were different channel owners. So someone oversaw podcasts, someone oversaw Instagram, and I was fortunate enough to oversee YouTube and kind of owned the YouTube pipeline within the influencer team there and became an expert in the YouTube space and really scaled YouTube to be one of the top revenue drivers in terms of within the team. Was able to connect with a lot of early creators that have gone on to have massive platforms now. And just am so glad too that I got to become really close to like the YouTube algorithms, how to optimize content there, because it can be a very confusing channel. But that was my first 3 years in influencer marketing was focused on YouTube creators, revenue driving, performance-based programming. And then my final 10 months at Thrive Market, I was actually on the content and community team. I did a very short career pivot, but kind of always in the back of my mind, wanting to get back into influencer marketing, but only if it were an opportunity where I could start a program from the ground up and scale it and test a lot of these theories and hypotheses that I had just kind of like floating in my brain and wanting to execute it on scale. That's when Seed found me. They found me in 2020. Q4 of 2020, I was hired full-time, started working for them. And it very much helps that Seed is a brand. It's a very strong brand and it's a very strong product. And people at the influencers at the time had kind of heard of Seed, maybe from Seed University, which was the affiliate program that they had launched before I had started, just through general paid media marketing or gifting. Like people had heard about Seed. They just didn't have someone in-house to leverage those relationships and leverage those relationships in volume. And so we started with like a $30,000 budget, but within 5 or 6 months, we're spending $300,000 a month just on influencers alone. Hired out one additional team member to help me. But by the end of our first year of really testing into influencer marketing, we were overseeing a budget of close to $1 million a month on influencers. And then 2022, we hired additional team members, and that's when we really started to catapult the growth of our program. And it was a very performance-driven program. We had, cold, hard CPA numbers that we were keeping in mind, but we got really lucky that the brand was super well received and the product was great. It was actually transforming people's lives. It made our jobs infinitely easier that it was a product people loved, and it was a product that was helping everyone feel their best, truly. And so by the time that I left in 2023, so earlier this year, the team was overseeing a multi-million-dollar budget on the influencer channel, working very cross-functionally and dynamically with the performance marketing team or the paid social team. That was one thing that really helped the growth organization succeed, is that, I guess, interdependence, but also that collaboration between those two teams, because so many of the influencer deals we had paid usage baked into the agreements, and that was what the performance marketing team used, mixing that with really stellar, beautiful in-house creative. Yeah, it was a pretty well-oiled machine, and I was lucky enough to be able to launch one of those successful channels for the business. And now over here at Super Affiliate.
So many different directions we could go with that response. So many things I want to click into. But one thing I'm just curious about, in the beginning of your journey, you mentioned there was some strategies or hypotheses that you brought in that journey that you wanted to test. Mm-hmm. What was one of those that you were like, this is something that's been eating at me, I wanted to try it, and I got the opportunity to, and maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, but give me what your thoughts are.
Oh, good Lord. I think it's like that was almost 4 years ago. I don't know what the theories were at the time. I think I was mostly just really eager to apply what I had learned about YouTube and those deals, which is kind of like traditional media buying on YouTube, but it's also really creative and really anchored in good storytelling, because the content you're getting, rather than it being like 30 to 60 seconds of Instagram story frames, it can be multiple minutes. Like, they can really tell a really long story. And so what I just wanted to test, based off of like, YouTube is a top revenue driving channel. It's also the best channel for in-depth storytelling. Okay, how can we apply those two elements to every single platform in the influencer world? Like, how can we put that on? How can we apply that principle to Instagram, to podcast, to newsletter? And then obviously TikTok was a thing at the time, and not really. Like, how can we apply it to TikTok? Basically, this idea of balancing a performance-driven strategy with human-first campaigns. That was like, how do we, more importantly, how do we do that at a crazy volume? Like, can we do that and do that with a $2 million a month budget? Let's see. And it was mostly just thinking big. Like, how big can we go? How big can we think? And Era, the co-founder at Seed, was the first person in my career to tell me, think bigger. Wow. And I don't think she necessarily meant budget. I think she was like, you're focusing so much on like the media mix of your community. Think bigger. Like, what is bigger about influencer marketing? What is bigger about this community? Think bigger. That piece of advice was super helpful to me in just like, how can we make this program the biggest and the best, not only for the brand, but for our partners that are a part of it.
That's awesome. I would love to know, because it sounds like your strategy at Thrive and Seed was hyper focused on performance. Mm-hmm. How did those strategies differ, or what was the same about them?
They were both CPA focused. So Thrive Market had a CPA goal, Seed had a CPA goal, and how we evaluated CPA was how much did we pay this influencer, how many code redemptions did we see on our back end, just like a very easy division. That's how we gauged campaign success, was based on CPA.
At both Thrive and Seed?
Yeah.
Got it. And I know, like, just looking at your title at Seed, it was Director of Ambassador and in Partnerships. So did you also build out or participate in Thrive's Ambassador program? Or how did...
Like their affiliate Yeah, we called them ambassadors at Seed because influencer has become a bit of a dirty word. And we truly, it is all about positioning. Like, we wanted the influencers that we worked with at Seed to feel like they were probiotic evangelists, they were ambassadors to the brand, they were partners to the brand. Like, the words you use really matter in this space. And influencers hate being called influencers. Well, some of them. They prefer content creators, they prefer affiliates, or they prefer partner. But at Thrive, I didn't, it's funny, when I was a coordinator, I would help with like the email newsletters. I remember like super scrappy early days at Thrive where I was designing emails to send to affiliates. I was like, man, the wrong person to do this. I learned a lot of the nuts and bolts to like good affiliate marketing, which is like you're constantly needing to inspire, constantly needing to engage with your affiliates, but not in ways that feel spammy, but in ways that feels really authentic. I didn't spearhead a lot of the affiliate initiatives. We had a really good agency at the time at Thrive. I can't remember which agency it was, but as a coordinator, I definitely supported more with like the manual process of organizing the community, tracking the community, and engaging with them. And then at Seed, the affiliate program came easy, mostly because like they had laid the foundation for it before I started with Seed University, and they had a massive pool of affiliates that they were just waiting to leverage, basically. And so they made my job easier in that sense. Like the affiliate community existed there. And so it was just a matter of keeping them engaged and keeping them inspired. And one benefit to investing heavily on influencer is that your affiliate program grows organically from it. And so influencers are really such a rising tide that can lift all boats, from growing your affiliate community organically to even making the jobs of the recruiters at your company easier.
What about tech stack? What were you using then, and what's your current stack, and what do you recommend?
This is actually, it's funny, this is how I learned about Super Affiliate. So at Seed, the sales platform we used was Recurly. So we weren't on Shopify, and that is an important detail that I'll literally cover in 30 seconds. But our affiliates were in ShareASale, and our influencers were tracked all in Google Sheets. And it was a very manual process where I would download coupon code reports from Recurly, upload them to my Google Sheet, a VLOOKUP, then refine the data, a pivot table, refine the data. I've become a Google Sheets whiz. I'm very appreciative of that experience in and of itself. It was all very manual. None of our influencers had customized landing pages except for podcasters because the process took a little bit longer. ShareASale is one of the oldest affiliate software out there, but it's also the most well-known. So we were on ShareASale, but we were looking to optimize both of those communities. And that's when I met Andy and Anders at Super Affiliate about a year ago. So like mid 2022, being in-house was like very impressed with what they were doing. Not only like streamlining the front end strategy, but making back end analytics and reporting a lot easier. But Seed couldn't use Super Affiliate because we were on Recurly and not Shopify. So honestly, as an influencer marketing team, did not have an impressive tech stack. We used Grin for 6 months and then didn't utilize it fully. So we didn't use Grin anymore. We didn't use any sourcing tools. It was very old school for a very modern program, surprisingly.
Yeah. It's amazing how far you can get with duct tape and bubble gum with that stuff. And we've been through the exact same journey. I think we've used probably every tool. So now you're Super Affiliate. Why Super Affiliate? And what made you want to transition from the brand side to being a part of a team like that?
I could wear so many different hats as to why I would say like from an in-house brand perspective, it's because I on a daily basis experience the frustration of less than perfect reporting. And if you have a program that is performance driven, it is so critical for you to have access to link clicks, code redemptions, revenue numbers, like instantly. You shouldn't have to like go into a platform, download a sheet of thousands upon thousands of line items. It has to be way more reactive, because if you're able to make informed decisions on your creator campaigns and your strategy because you have data at your fingertips all the time, it is so important to have a platform that is setting you up for success and not slowing you down. So that was like the biggest thing for Super Affiliate that I was excited about, was just like the back end side of things, which it's funny because that's not even what they lead in sales. They always talk about like front end optimizations. And I'm like, I'm a data nerd. Like, yeah, it's great to have a pretty landing page and it's actually helps a lot with increasing conversions. But the back end, you are trying to grow a successful program, you need to make sure that you have those kinds of capabilities. But then the front end side too. I think it was a bummer that we didn't have customized landing pages for all of our influencers and all of our affiliates at Seed, especially. And in Thrive Market, we did. And so I've had kind of experiences seeing what a program looks like when all of your partners are enabled with landing pages versus a program that's not. And obviously a program that's not, you can still scale it to be at Seed's size. But how I like to describe it is when you are enabled and have the ability to offer an affiliate with 20 followers and an influencer with 20 million followers, this customized storefront and microsite experience, you take a group of creators and you turn them into a community. And that's what you want. Like, you want a community of creators that are unified by the fact that they feel special, they feel seen, and they feel like they are a true ambassador to your program because like they've got a storefront with your brand. And like that makes you feel, it unlocks so much more success for your program in measurable and also immeasurable ways.
Yeah, definitely. I think for us, when we recommend super affiliate, it just stacks the value equation in the brand's favor, and it makes creators feel like you're invested in their success outside of like, giving them a tool that fosters like frictionless opt-in for their community. And we love that piece of it.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that you just give them the tools to be successful, and it goes a really long way.
And that's the thing, when brands ask, what do I need to have a successful program, is you need to have the tools for your team. You have to like consider your affiliates and your influencers a part of your team. And as any good manager, if you don't have the tools to set your team up for success, your team's going to fail or quit and leave. And it's the same thing with affiliates and influencers. Like, if you're not setting this team of people up for success and enabling and making their jobs easier, then of course your program's going to fall flat.
Yeah, we always say friction is a community killer, especially when you're looking at, working with influencers on a performance basis. And honestly, like influencers, I think they're starting to come around to this performance model, but most of them want to get paid placement fees. So if you can get an influencer or a creator to want to partner with you on a performance basis, but there is any friction from them opting in to getting their link, to starting to create content, or intuitively know like how they're going to receive payment or how that process works, or on the brand side facilitating payment, we see that friction is just a community killer. That's my favorite thing about Super Affiliate, is that it just provides a frictionless tool from opt-in to creating content to them receiving their payment. And then on our side, to your point, like the reporting, it just makes every part of that process end to end, and really reduces friction.
And it doesn't look like it was built in the 80s either. Like Anders and the product team, the designers have done such a good job, like making the platform incredibly user-friendly and intuitive, and just like something you feel like you want to be a part of in an odd sense. Like, yes, it's a software platform, but you're like, yeah, I want to be on the Super Affiliate roster. Like, this is a cool brand.
I'm gonna add one more to your list, Riley. Another thing that we found is important with these communities is inspiring them. It's different to traditional affiliate, where they like understand kind of the affiliate ecosystem and kind of the long tail game of like earning the commissions. With influencer, it's a bit different language, and inspiring and motivating them, particularly early on, is really key to getting them to activate and stick with you. And having that experience, it's like tailored to them on the front end, kind of helps create that buzz around it that is going to inspire them to actually activate and participate in the program. So I love that piece of it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And like all the integrations too with Super Affiliate and Klaviyo and SMS, like there are so many ways that you can streamline communication to your affiliate and influencer communities. And that's huge too, because I'm just used to sending it in like Gmail mail merge. Getting out of Gmail is an ideal strategy.
If you could go back, is there anything that you would have done differently? This could be like team structure or any direction with that. But looking back, knowing what you know now, but is there anything that you would do differently?
I would have advocated more for our influencers internally. What's really interesting is the interview that I did that we talked about earlier with Kinship. They asked, like, influencers were one of the biggest revenue driving channels for Seed for many years. It's a lot more level playing field now with the performance marketing team, but why are there no influencers on your website? And I think that was on me, truly. I was not advocating for our influencers in-house as much as I should have been, or offering them bigger opportunities. I think what's really cool about what Thrive Market is doing right now is they're collaborating with their influencers on products. That is so cool. Seed is a company that couldn't do that. Maybe one day eventually, but because there's so much clinical work that goes into their products and it takes years and years to develop what they're doing. It's a little bit different. But advocating for influencers in bigger ways and showing up for your creators and the anchors of your program, or like I say anchors, a lot of people say backbones, like offering bigger and better opportunities for those creators, and not only just like offering them, but getting it approved internally. Like, let's get this person on an equity deal. I don't know why we're dragging our feet. They've driven $30 million of revenue for this business. Like, why can't we do these things for them? Why can't we show up for them in these ways? I think just like a little bit more internal advocacy for the just like exposure of our influencer program. I just can't imagine how much bigger it would have been if we had showcased their voices on Instagram, on Seed's Twitter, on the website. Like, what if we, I guess, thanked them in a bigger way? What could we have unlocked?
So I guess the theme there is like always find a way to invest back into your creator community or provide them more opportunities. I think that's always a big, it's something that helps foster more engagement. And like anytime you can provide or even communicate like what the path is to those things, you're going to see much more participation, a much more vibrant and stronger community. So I think it's a good point. I think something that we see with a lot of our clients and a lot of our favorite influencer programs is that they do a good job at celebrating the success within the community, but providing more follow-up opportunity to continue to grow.
I didn't celebrate enough when I was at Seed. We didn't have enough time to celebrate. We were so focused on just like scaling and seeing success that we never just stopped to be like, damn, this is some really good work. But even showing up for like back to this, like investing in your creators in bigger ways, like sponsor their event. Like especially if like you can afford it and they're a creator that either creates really amazing content for you or drives really good revenue, sponsor their events, attend their events. If they're, showcasing a webinar, like ask for ways that you can maybe be a content partner for them or educate. And that was kind of like the unique thing about Seed is like, there was so much that we could educate our partners on in the probiotic and microbiome space that, how can we organize community events? Like, why aren't we doing events? Why are we so focused on growth that we can't do events? Just like really think outside the box in terms of like how you can nurture these relationships further, because the quality of your relationships with these influencers is a direct correlation to your bottom line. So if you start to see performance dwindling, maybe start looking at how are our relationships doing? Do people still like us? Like, what's going on here?
On that note, we all, an influencer, have like a campaign that we are super excited about, maybe spent a lot of budget on, and it maybe fell flat, didn't work, was a bust. Yeah. Do you have any failures like that? And what did you learn?
No failures. What's great? So in my experience at Thrive, we had like baby campaigns where like I would do a little test with the YouTubers. We would do some testing on Instagram, but Seed was the first brand that really supported this idea of like unified marketing and having omni-channel, multi-channel amplification of a launch or of something. And especially because they were constantly publishing papers and research. Those were really unique opportunities for our influencers to talk about something other than the product, which is really, really important. But I think I'll say my favorite and then end with the least successful. My favorite campaign was one that we did in May of 2021, and it was the first of what will be a repeated campaign, hopefully. It's called Science Smoothies. One of the things that the largest and most successful cohort for Seed was the food recipe and nutrition community. And May is Digestive Disease Month. And so what we partnered with creators in the food community on is to develop and make recipes with smoothies using the periodic table of microbiome friendly foods. And then it all tied back to Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic at the end of the campaign. So it was like, May is Digestive Disease Month, not to celebrate digestive diseases, but to grow awareness for foods that nurture the health of your microbiome. Here's a periodic table. I've made a smoothie with 5 ingredients on this periodic table of microbiome friendly foods. And we actually partnered with our SciCare team to give our influencers the microbiome specific research on like why blueberries are beneficial to the microbiome. And so like our influencers became mini scientists because they were not only amplifying Seed's brand, but they were sharing knowledge. And they were like, I obviously take the smoothie with Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. As part of this campaign, they're offering an exclusive discount for this month only, etc. And we did that campaign in 2021. In 2022, when we launched our PDS08 product, product, which was kind of cool because people would add TDSO8 into their smoothie. So there was an added angle to it. And we did it this year on a much smaller scale. We did it this May. And that was the most successful campaign, I think, because we were aligning with our strongest vertical of creator. We were not only having them push the product, but we were giving them something new to talk about that wasn't really salesy. It was purely educational. But the one campaign that kind of fell flat for us, it was called Vial in the Wild. So the great thing about Seed is like you obviously get your jar and you get a travel vial. But what that campaign was focused on was like environmental microbes and how like the environment can have an impact on your microbiome. I just think like the online community wasn't ready for that. Like everyone eats food, but not everyone's thinking about like microbial or like spheres when you're walking around the world. So it fell flat because I think like, but that's honestly the great thing about Seed is they reach and they create trends and they create movements. And I think that one just fell a little bit flat with influencers, but it was still really cool because we got beautiful content out of it. Like we got people taking their vial and our international partners were like taking it in front of these gorgeous mountains in Sweden. And we were like, whoa, this is like the most beautiful campaign we've ever done with influencers because it was very like nature focused, but the messaging wasn't perfect. And that's why it fell flat.
So I would love to kind of just circle back quickly on the Seed program. You know, obviously we're big fans. We've done quite a bit of research and heard you on podcasts talk about it. We've consumed the content that's been driven from the community. And I think we would consider like the Seed University program as like probably, you know, the gold standard of how you build a successful influencer affiliate community. I think for us, we've been building this playbook of kind of the pillars or what it takes to be successful when building an influencer affiliate program. And I'd love to just like give you kind of our thoughts or like what we see those pillars are and have you just like kind of unpack at each step or let us know what we're missing there. But I think from the outside, what we see is consistent around like gold standard programs. These are the things they all have in common. One is they're all branded. So they start with a branded community, which gives influencers kind of like a sense of identity that they can attach themselves to. The second is they have the right tech stack or software to power the program, which is why we love Super Affiliate, why we're all kind of bullish on that. The third would be being able to do influencer recruitment at scale and have kind of a rich incentive and offer strategy that is attractive enough to, you know, like recruit quality influencers into your program, but do it at scale so that you can unlock significant amount of revenue through a program. The fourth would be community management. So it's like dedicated support to nurture them from opting in to creating content and sticking around. And then I think the last pillar would be creative strategy and content production. Creative strategy would be setting them up for success with like concepts, trends, like what to say, what not to do. And then content production would be the creative that your team can create to inspire the community, knowing that they are humans. So like testimonials, spotlights, webinars, case studies, things that inspire humans to want to create content or take action. So from our perspective, we thought like, you know, we see Seed University kind of hitting all of those pillars. Is there anything we're missing or is there anything you want to add to that?
I would say a branded community is so important. Exactly. Like what you call your program, it needs to make sense, but it also needs to be like interesting and different. Like Seed University, like a university, what do you mean? I can't take credit for that branding. The team prior to me crushed it with that. Tech integration, yes. Like I mentioned before, we weren't a tech-enabled community. We weren't. That's the TLDR. We needed more tech support, I think. Influence, yeah, recruitment, community. I think the only thing, and this might be just a bridge to creative strategy, is getting the most bang for your buck with this influencer content. Give it to your performance marketing, your paid social team, put it in an email, put it in your website, put it on your Instagram feed, put it on TikTok, put it on everywhere. Like if an influencer feels like the brand is really jazzed about them, they're going to go above and beyond for you. And I think that could just be a part of your creative strategy is like the amplification of your influencers. Think about it. Don't just sit on this community. There's so much more that you could be doing with your influencer content rather than just having it go live and that's it.
Love that. 100%. I don't know why that's not on our flywheel, Riley, because we talk about that like in every single one of our conversations.
I think it just saying that's a part of creative strategy. It's in there.
Yeah,
it's in there. Yeah.
We call it like the secondary benefits. It's like its own thing.
Totally.
I think what we find when talking to brands where like influencer affiliate is kind of a newer strategy and newer channel. When we throw like the whole kitchen sink at them, they're like, I need to understand this first, but I love that. And I think that is almost in itself enough of a reason to invest in like influencer affiliate as a channel or strategy. Yeah.
And I think like I alluded to this earlier, like you start working with influencers. We didn't have to do active recruitment for our affiliate program anymore at Seed because we were getting 50, 60 applications a week just because like our influencers were posting. We had such a big influencer program that affiliates follow influencers. Affiliates want to be the next influencer. And it's just an added benefit. And then you get on to interviews with people that want to join Seed and you ask, where did you hear about us? They're like, Julia and Hunter Havens on YouTube. You're like, sick, great. Like it's such a, there's just so much upside to investing in influencers.
So one of the biggest secondary benefits that we love a lot, taking the content that's created and doing whitelisting in Spark. It's like more of a bulletproof approach. What is your thoughts on that as a tactic?
You have to do it. I'm not going to say you're wasting your money if you just invest on influencer organically because it is still possible to grow an incredible influencer program and see really good results, and you don't boost it or do Spark ads. Whitelisting and allow listing, if you're not doing it, you have to be. Test it too. Like test the creative from the influencer's profile and from the brand's profile as well and see what converts best. We didn't do that at Seed, or at least during my time there. We would only use in-house ads from the brand handle and only influencer content from the influencer handle. But there is a world in which we should test both. We did some UGC on the Seed brand side, but for influencer content, mostly it was always through their own handle. But we saw a lot of success with the whitelisting and allow listing deals that we were doing. You got to get started. There's 1,010,000 consultants that if you have no idea what you're doing, there's someone can help you. There's agencies like ZeroTo1 who can help you.
I would love to know. I think we run into this on a weekly basis with our clients or brands that we're speaking to. But if a brand is not working with influencers to drive performance or doing it through a performance lens, like what is your elevator pitch to them?
Are you hiring? One day I will never have to say CPA or ROAS, and I think I'll be retired, but I can't wait. That blows my mind. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you measuring? What matters to you? I can't even wrap my head around it. If someone told me that they didn't have necessarily a performance, if they were just like an impressions-based, I think that I would try to get them thinking differently about their program. I think if you only put influencers in an awareness bucket, it means you're not understanding the channel as well as I think you could be. You're not prioritizing the channel in the ways that you should be prioritizing it more. I think a lot of people don't understand influencers, and so they write it off, and that's a mistake.
Yeah, they're comparing it to, influencer in 2016, which say 90% of the strategy there was awareness and engagement focus.
Yeah.
For us, with kind of our strategy and what we're seeing, like it can be your highest margin marketing channel when done correctly, while also supporting your paid channels, social, Meta, TikTok ads. So, and then on the flip side of that, knowing that you're on the super affiliate team, let's say you're talking to an e-com brand that's on Shopify that is leveraging influencer on a performance basis, but they're not using super affiliate. What is the elevator pitch there? Why should someone add super affiliate to their strategy?
Do you want to make your life easier or continue with what you're doing? Truly, because if someone had told me that a year ago, I know that the super affiliate team is just so incredible that at the time they were looking into, can we use Recurly? Can we broaden it from just being Shopify only to include these other kind of platforms? And they looked into it. They looked into Recurly because that really ultimately at the end of the day, it's a platform that optimizes your programs from referral to affiliate to influencer. And you don't just have to have those 3 buckets. You could have 6 different affiliate programs and 20 different influencer programs if you wanted to. Like it's fully customizable to meet the goals that you have. But what also is kind of great too is you can develop new goals based on the reporting that you get on the back end of super affiliate. So maybe you are super goal and conversion focused, but I think there's a world in which like our Seed or even Thrive Market as an example, if they were to be on super affiliate, yes, goal conversion metrics are really important, and seeing revenue and seeing code usage is incredibly important. But there's also a whole segment there where you can see unique visitors, visits, time spent on page, additional metrics that we did not have for our influencer program that we could have. We could have set KPIs for number of visits or number of page views. Like we could have added additional analytics to our program to gauge success. Then that means we might have been able to work with partners who maybe didn't hit our CPA goal, but like brought in 6,000 clicks and 6,000 visitors to the website. It enables you to measure your community in different ways and makes it easier too. That's what I would ask them.
A lot of influencers also like are hesitant to talk about performance basis. What is your pitch and approach to commissions and fees?
I am the one to tell an influencer how they're doing and how they're performing and how that compares to our goals. I've always been that person. And I think a lot of brands get trepidatious with that because they don't want the influencer or the talent agent taking that information and using it against you. And they think that that's what's going to happen. And I've been doing this for 8 years now, and I can tell you it doesn't. Because that is what up-levels your relationship to a partnership, and it cultivates a lot of success. So if I tell a partner, like, you drove 30 grand in revenue, you're crushing it, thank you, this is amazing, then they're going to know their value, and they might utilize that insights in a future negotiation, but they're always going to remember who told them, who empowered them with this insight. That's like after the campaign is posted. If we back it up way more when we're like vetting an influencer's platform and trying to draft a deal, yes, you've got to look at their brand fit, but depending on the platform, if it's Instagram, if it's YouTube, whatever it is, get as many pieces of data and insights as you can and use their engagement rate to determine like a negotiating sliding scale. Like if they're at a 10% engagement rate, what are you willing to pay per view for an Instagram story? If they have a 25% plus engagement rate on Instagram stories, what is your threshold? What is your sliding scale? And communicating that to the creator. I mean, like you have a 5% engagement rate on Instagram stories, like stories to follows. Your link clicks are around 10%. Your sticker taps are around 20%. Like these are all really good, but your collective engagement rate based on our metrics is this, which means we anticipate you will convert these many customers at our target CPA. That means we're willing to pay you this much. And some of it goes right over their head. Yeah. But 9 times out of 10, the influencers are like, wow, like I had no idea brands were doing this in terms of my community. And it also motivates them too. They're like, I need to increase my Instagram story views, which means I need to use more native Instagram features. I need to post more frequently. I need to use the Q&A box and make sure that I'm getting engagement on stories because that's what brands are looking for. Like you can teach your influencers to be better influencers by just empowering them with the data that you're gatekeeping. Like stop gatekeeping your data. Truly. I don't know why people get their feathers all ruffled when they're like, oh, how could I ever? It's like, do you want some respect in the industry? That'll get it. That'll get you some respect.
Break that down a little bit. Is it cost per view? Is that how you were negotiating?
It's different based on platform. Always book stories before you book reels or posts. Reels and posts tend to be super expensive. We always reserved reels and posts for campaign moments. So like that science smoothie campaign, we booked a lot of reels. For Vile in the Wild, booked a lot of reels because we wanted that like evergreen moment. So if they're a 10% engagement or less, then you're going to pay less per view. You're not going to pay 15 cents per view on someone who has a 10% engagement rate. You're going to negotiate really low and you might hurt some people's feelings, you know, as long as you approach it in a way where you're showing them the math, you're showing them the insight that you can provide, they'll respect you for it. It's like, you might be asking me for a $5,000 Instagram story and I'm only willing to pay you $300. Acknowledge that is disrespectful. And they might come back and say, thank you so much for sharing this with me. I am very open to finding a happy medium. And that happened 10 times out of 10 at Seed, which is why our program got so big so fast, is because we were just so transparent with our math, basically. And then on YouTube, it's a whole other, there's so much more data you can ask for on YouTube. Obviously, you can get average views just by calculating it yourself, but get their average views from them, get their average watch time. So you can ensure if a creator is making a 20-minute video, but people are dropping off at the 7-minute mark, that's not great. Get subscribers versus non-subscribers watch time. You can get their click-through rate on YouTube for like the links that are in their description and take that number, take their average views, multiply it by that click-through, and then you can kind of start to estimate, all right, once people are on our website, what are our internal conversion metrics? And then you can kind of plug and chug from there to forecast what the performance might be.
That was super helpful. I'm excited to rewatch that and re-listen to that part and pull that soundbite, because I think to your point, like most teams don't even ask for that insight or look at those metrics from influencers when they're proposing a budget. So I think that in itself will be some helpful info for influencer marketers or managers that are just struggling with, how to achieve profitable campaigns, but also like, where do I even start with pricing? So I would love to know, like, you're an OG in the influencer space. You've been around, you've been doing this for 8 years now, almost a decade. Like, what trends are you seeing now, or what are you excited about going into 2024 when it comes to brands and how they're leveraging influencer?
Brands are becoming more receptive to different metrics. Like, they're not just ROAS and CPA focused, but they are measuring impressions, and they're taking that as a win, and they're creating awareness buckets for their influencer programs. Because I think right now there is a huge silo. Either you're an influencer program that focuses on awareness, or you're an influencer program that focuses on like revenue performance. What I'm seeing is more and more brands creating space for both within their program. And that's huge, because like the awareness bucket might be a smaller budget, but it's when you work with celebrities. It's when you work with people that are really good at driving hype and awareness, but maybe not cold, hard revenue numbers. And then you've got your revenue-based community or performance-based community that kind of is carrying the success of your program. But just thinking more broadly about the impact of influencer. Brands just have to stop putting them in a one-size-fits-all bucket. Because then you're really not, and that goes back to the circle too that you were showing. You have to think more broadly about where can your influencers show up for you and where can you show up for them. So that is a really positive trend that I'm seeing, is like more being enabled with more metrics and more insights. You can set really like some fun goals for your community, but more importantly for the team managing your community. Always make sure they're okay. I would also say too, paid usage. A couple years ago, influencers were really afraid of allow listing and whitelisting, but starting to see more and more of them being open to it. Mostly because like if a piece of content's like over amplified or overused, you can get like a lot of negative comments, and it's on the brand to respond to those. Don't be a brand that just lets your creator take shit on the internet. Yeah. Do not. But more and more influencers are open to that, because they're also noticing the benefits. You're getting free followers from this amplification. That's crazy. Like, you can grow your community like nobody's business by allowing a brand to whitelist or allow list your content.
It's a good case study too, to go and show like, hey, these brands are working with me on a performance basis. Not only are they leveraging or working with me to create organic content, but they're working with me to develop content on the paid side. So I think there's value for influencers from that perspective.
And what's cool too is like the more you test an influencer on like the organic channel and the performance or paid channel, you start to identify creators that really convert best on paid and not on organic. And then the paid team kind of has like their own list of influencers. And then you've got all these different communities of influencers working in your favor.
On that point, because the first point you made was the synergy of those two, awareness and revenue driving. Mm-hmm. We even see that silo internally at a brand. Like a lot of times you've got the brand team who's got their influencer program. Then you've got their influencer affiliate program. That's more of a growth tactic. Yeah. And those two things operate on islands. What recommendations do you have on how to kind of pull that together and create that synergy if you're internal at a brand?
Oh my gosh. What's the hesitation? Get deep within yourself. Like, what is the hesitation with collaborating? Luckily at Seed, we helped like our brand team wanted UGC content for in-feed and website and whatnot. And we ran that as a team. We owned the UGC pipeline because we had the eye for the influence. We knew what would work. We knew the type of person that we should secure. And so I think it's just the best way to start collaborating is, are you looking for different things? Because chances are you're not. Chances are like the brand team and their awareness influencers are super similar to like the revenue driving influencers. So find the common ground, like, and also share the influencers. Be like, this person converts really well paid. Let's test them organically. And if the brand team is hesitant, ask them why. Because you can just learn so much from your internal teams, what they look for and what they're excited about, that it might unlock like, oh, that's a good point. We actually haven't tested in this specific vertical of influencer before. And then you open up a whole new test and maybe you find your next top performer just by collaborating. Yeah, I think a lot of companies operate in silo like that. And that's a much bigger conversation.
Well, we have not too much more time, so maybe one or two more questions. Riley, you want to fire one off?
Yeah, I got two more fun or personal questions.
Cool.
So let's say you got hired at a new brand, just for the sake of this exercise, e-com brand, and you joined to build out their influencer strategy, but they said you can only focus on one platform for all of 2024. Only one platform. What would that platform be and why?
I wouldn't take a job like that. I would be remiss to not say I would, even if it was $1 million a year in salary. I don't agree with that strategy. You need to have a healthy media mix. But I've said this. I mean, I think I've said the word YouTube 1,010,000 times on this interview. YouTube is one of the most easily optimizable channels for influencers. It's the best platform to tell stories, and it's the best platform for LTV because, not only will a video that gets posted 6 months ago for you still convert new customers today, but in a lot of the research and analysis that we've done, YouTube communities are obsessed with their YouTube creators, and they will repurchase and stay on a subscription longer than other platforms. So YouTube.
Stronger community and that long tail opportunity. We see that too.
Yeah. Love YouTube.
And you're probably not going to like this question either. We're in the same vein. But I would love to know, and I think there's people that are going to watch this, maybe looking to pitch their company on why they should be leveraging influencer or starting with a smaller budget. So I would love to know if you were starting out in a role and you only had $10,000 a month to be deployed towards your influencer strategy, like what would your influencer strategy look like with that 10K?
It would depend on the primary KPI for the program. If it is a 1x ROAS or a 2x ROAS, then I'm going to try to book smaller creators, try to get as much bang for my buck on that $10,000 amount. Because I could very easily go to one creator who charges $10,000 and call it a day. And you could see a 1x, 2x ROAS. But if you are a company that feels like it's in a content drought, don't do that. Go find 5 influencers for that $10,000 budget versus just one. You kind of have to balance what the ultimate goal is. Is it to start testing with influencers, or is it to really drive revenue? Because you could work with one influencer who you'll pay 10 grand, but you'll get 30 grand out of them. Great. You hit your revenue goal. But if your marketing team is we need more whitelisting and allow listing deals, then you're going to want to work with more creators at a smaller price per creator and get paid usage baked into those agreements.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And probably focus, it's all about it's just about the ultimate goal. And if they're looking for a quick win, then probably Instagram stories. Because after 24 hours, if that campaign converted. Maybe don't do YouTube right out of the gate because it is so long tail and it tends to be more expensive. Mm-hmm. Avoid TikTok as well. It's a hard channel to convert on if you don't have a sophisticated Spark ad strategy. Just start with stories.
Yeah, cheaper to kind of get those learnings, faster learnings, quicker results. Love it.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful and fun conversation. You're a joy to talk with. Where can people find you?
LinkedIn, Instagram. My name's Lily at superaffiliate.com. You got questions, send me a message. I love talking shop. I love helping build people on their careers and mentor them in this crazy unhinged side of marketing. So, however I can, that's where you can find me. Pretty much anywhere.
Love it. And if you haven't checked out Super Affiliate, you've got to. Don't know what you're missing. It's a really great product. Cannot say enough about that platform. So, all right. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much. Let's do it again.
Thank you so much. This was great.